When your opponent punches you, you will dodge left and parry with your right. You will parry with your forearm, knocking his punch away from you. Pull your arm back and grab his wrist. Pull in the direction of the punch, and this will pull him off balance like this. Grab his right leg at the knee and lift up as you pull his arm down and back. This simultaneous up-down motion is very important. If both hands move at the same time, you will use your opponent's own momentum to throw him to the ground. When your opponent punches right, move left and grab his wrist as in Punch Counterattack 21. At this point, step behind him with your right leg and reverse sweep him as you bend his arm and wrap it around his neck. The key to this technique is the wrapping of the arm around the neck and then the pushing of his leg back with your leg like this. If you sweep his leg at the same time you push forward with your arm, you will take your opponent to the ground. For this technique, your opponent will again attack you with his right. You will dodge left and grab. Press your left arm against his body like this. At this point, if you want, you can break his arm at the elbow with your arm. But for this technique, use your shoulder to press his arm down as you pull his wrist and lead him to the ground. Now you can break his arm here. Or you can let your opponent roll away by letting go as you bring him to the ground. For this technique, you have to be able to apply pressure to his arm with your shoulder to best control him to the ground. When your opponent punches you with his right, move offline slightly to your left as you parry their punch with your right. Immediately, pull his arm down and forward with your left hand. as your right hand moves up to strike him with a palm strike to the face. It is best to move forward as you attack with your right. The key to this technique is the simultaneous block and attack at the same time. You cannot first block and then strike. This is too difficult. You must advance and hit as you bring his punch down with your left. The timing is very important. When they attack, simultaneously defend and attack. Here is a cross-hands defense against a punch. When your opponent punches, block with a cross-hands block. Now bring his arm down as you turn your left hand up to grab his wrist. Advance forward as you twist his arm using your forearm for extra leverage. From here, switch hands and then strike him in the neck. Now I'll do it a little faster so you can see. Now we will add some leg work to our defense. If your opponent punches you with a left cross, parry his punch with your right, and block your opponent's second punch down with your left as you advance and strike to the neck. Hook your leg behind his and pull back. This will send your opponent to the ground. You must pull your leg back like this. It's important that you hook your foot around the back of his foot. This motion is what takes him to the ground. To do a 1-inch palm strike, you can place your hand in many different positions. For this palm strike, leave an inch of space and then strike forward and down like this. If your palm is facing up, you strike in and up. A sideways palm strike will look like this. If I use my elbow, I can attack like this. These are all ways to utilize 1-inch power. To get this power, you must lower your center of gravity and use explosive force and speed. When you hit, you must have all three elements in order to develop damaging power. This inch power is very useful, but you have to develop whole body speed and power. When your opponent attacks you with a punch, parry up and strike down. Where you want to strike is the kidneys, as they are one of the most vulnerable areas on the body. Your opponent punches, you parry up and strike him with an inch palm strike against the exposed side of the rib cage. This technique is simple, but you must parry and strike at the same time. If you do not, then he will have the opportunity to counter-strike you. Also, you need to advance forward as you strike for power. The forward momentum will add power to your strike. If you use punch counterattack 27 and your opponent blocks your attack, don't worry. Just roll your hand up and around to his arm and attack underneath with your other hand. Roll and attack. Let me demonstrate this a little faster. The best place to attack is the center of the body here. This technique also requires you to simultaneously advance as you roll your hand up and attack.